Welcome back to Locker Room Dads, hosted by myself, Pat O'Donnell, punter for the Green Bay Packers, and Josh Brinzo, brewery owner, who have two wonderful, beautiful daughters. Today's guest is an ultimate frisbee player for the LA Aviators, and he's a musician, songwriter, and actor. The guy does it all, but most importantly, he is a locker room dad. Cody Johns, welcome to the show.
Let's go. I'm so happy to be here. What's going on, Pat? Thank you, Josh. Thank you for having me on here. I've been excited for this for the past several days, Pat. You have no idea because, first of all, I love doing podcasts. And second of all, we haven't caught up. And then you told me, hey, this is how I like to catch up with people, get to know people. I'm like, dude, let's just roll and catch up. Why not?
That's what it's all about, man. So tell us what you got going on. I know you got a lot of stuff going. You're a musician. You just got a new song that just dropped, right?
Yes, I did. I released a song recently called "How I Feel," and honestly, man, I'm in a brand new place than I've ever been. And you guys know, dads. I became a dad. It's been 10 months. It's flown by. I'm a girl dad.
Yeah.
And life is more different than it's ever been for me, obviously. And you guys know that having a kid will do that, but I feel like it's a new era right now, and it's a new era for my life. I recently moved from LA to the country, is what I like to call it. I'm out in the country now. I got acres. I got like a ranch, which I didn't think I'd have until I was like 40. But I COVID and pandemic, I just kind of jumped to it. I jumped to that dream a little sooner. But yeah, man, I'm in a new place. I have a 10-month-old. I feel great. There's new things that I'm getting myself into on a business side, but I'm doing my music. That's my passion. And I'm just in a place now in life where I can kind of just create and live life and be a family man and just have freedom, So I'm loving it. I'm loving life.
Dude, I love that. The fact that you moved out to the countryside makes me feel like you're in Green Bay, Wisconsin right now, because it's all about family out here. There's really not a lot to do. People just love hanging out with each other, and you could raise a family. But I'm sure, you have a couple animals maybe on the farm, get some goats, chickens. Your daughter probably is going to love that.
We're working on the goats. It's chickens right now, and I got eggs. I got eggs like crazy. And yeah, it's a whole different speed of life, man. I mean, just going from LA or in like yourself, you know what it's like to be in a big city and then kind of transfer. I'm just in so much more of a family-friendly place, more space, and I feel like LA or New York City or any big city puts you on the go, 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 go. And for the first time in 10 years, I was out there for nearly 10 years. And for the first time, I feel like I'm finally slowing down. I bought a lawnmower. I'm mowing my 7 acres, and I'm finally getting to think for the first time. And I feel like I haven't thought it's just been work, and moving fast in big city. But yeah, man, it's been amazing. And honestly, Pat, let me just say, it's weird. I feel like I need to be interviewing you, dude, because you have done something so extraordinary in your life and career, and I haven't caught up with you in so long. But I feel like I have so many questions for you. So is it cool on this episode that we go back and forth from a classmate level? Because, I know you're probably going to get to this, but me and Pat were classmates and co-athletes and we played football together, and just we've known each other for so long, and it's finally great to connect back with you, Pat.
Yeah, let's do that. That'll be a first here, but that'll be great. We could lead the questions, and then if you got a question, I could just answer.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, and guys, you have to forgive me. This is Locker Room Dads, but I am not good with sports knowledge, teams. I could not name probably all the teams in the NFL, but obviously I'm a Dolphin fan just because I was born in Miami and I've always lived in Florida. But I mean, Pat, what is it like, man, to live out a dream that so many kids, so many young men always have aspired to, and you were just the guy that was able to do it? And when I think back about, we were in the locker room together at Central, and we were doing it was the football, the practice, the lifting, the training, and your life stayed like that on a professional level up until now. So I know it's kind of a basic general question, but how does it feel to be continuing to do something that most people just dream of being able to do?
Before I answer that, I just want to tell you that you were probably one of the most interesting people in high school. I mean, you were very athletic. You did drama. You had a musical background to you. So you were way more cooler than all of us. Like you were in every single circle, every single click. Like you were able to get
Yeah.
that done. But as you know, being a professional athlete is one of the best things that everybody dreams about doing. But it takes a lot of hard work. But I tell you what, if I was a kid in high school and I told my younger self that you would be a professional athlete, like I would hope to believe you, but like it is such a hard thing to accomplish. And I'm just really grateful that I got a scholarship. I played at University of Cincinnati, and then I transferred to grad school at University of Miami. And then it's been 8 years with the Chicago Bears, and then now I'm starting a whole new endeavor in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So it's yeah, life is interesting, man. And you throw a family in the mix, and it's really nice to have that family aspect uh,
Mm-hmm.
being with you throughout the whole entire process. A lot of guys start families after they play, but there's nothing more than I'd rather experience than having them with me throughout this journey. It's great, man.
Oh my gosh, man. And it's just like thinking back to just, like I was saying, like that transition of like, I was a guy who liked doing everything, and that was probably the reason why I couldn't be like either a professional athlete or the biggest A-list movie star, is because I was the guy who did a little bit of everything, and I kind of was like, let me just try to do everything like on my way up. And then obviously my career took a whole nother bizarre direction of a career path that wasn't even invented when we were young. And that was a crazy, thing in itself. But I just think it's so cool, Pat, like that you've been able to do that. And by the way, dude, I have to mention, you got inducted into the Palm Beach County Hall of Fame, dude.
Yes, he did.
What?
Who would have thought, dude?
Dude, I'm a little jealous, okay? Can entertainers get in that? Can there be some entertainers in the Palm Beach County Hall of Fame?
Me being now on the board and being a part of the Hall of Fame, we can actually probably include some musicians and people that actually do something with their life, probably besides bashing heads, like, and actually helping people get through tough times, like with your music. So I think we could definitely do that. I got to call some people and make that happen.
Dude, I know you can make it happen. I was halfway kidding, but I was a little like I was proud of you at the same time. But in the back of my head, I'm like, I want to be in the Palm Beach County Hall of Fame. You know?
Pat, we're making it happen.
What's that? Oh, Cody? Oh, he is the salt of the earth, dude. I haven't talked to him in a long time, man. It feels like no time has passed with him. But no, but let's talk about the LA Aviators, man. Let's talk about the Ultimate Frisbee League, because a lot of people probably don't know a whole lot about it. So dive into that if you can.
Okay, well, in high school, I would have fun and play Ultimate Frisbee, but on a very basic, like, uneducated level, where it would just be 20 versus 20 and just tossing a Frisbee across the whole field, and then, Hail Marrying every time. But and you guys are sports guys. You know how like, if Ultimate is a very intense sport. It's like you have to really have a soccer's like level of endurance to you. And it's really been on the come up like in the last 10, 15 years, the sport of Ultimate. I actually played for one season at the pro level in Los Angeles, and I played Ultimate in college. I kind of just like, there's a club team, and I was able to like walk on to the A team when I was a junior, because I transferred into University of Florida. So they had just won the national championship the year before, so it was a very tough program to like break into if you were older, because usually they take in freshmen and they invest in them for a few years and then play. So as a junior, I was able to kind of get on the team. I made the A team. And we went to nationals that year, and we didn't win. But I got a lot of good experience, and I got good really fast. And, Pat, you know this by when you're, if you are, let's say, like an average or above average athlete, when you're surrounded by star athletes, like, you get better regardless, because you're around the best, you're practicing with the best. I mean, you guys know how that works.
100%.
So I got really, really good at the sport in just 2 years in college. And then when I moved to LA to pursue my entertainment career, they had a pro team that started. It was the inaugural year of the pro team, and I tried out and I made the pro team, and I got to play for one season. And it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's like any sport. The higher the level you go, like the more insanely level of talent, you have these guys playing at. But it was a great experience to kind of play And obviously there's actually pay involved now in a small, I think a smaller level, like in the sport. But back then it was like, your travel was covered, your jerseys were covered, your equipment and stuff like that. So it was cool to be able to just kind of be a part of something that, or maybe in 5, 10, 20 years, the sport will be like how baseball was. It was a very kind of like sandlotty sport, and then maybe my grandkids will be like, my dad played pro back when it didn't even mean anything in ultimate, you know what I mean? But anyways, it's really kind of not even a large part of my life, but it was fun to play in college, and I got to play for one season at the pro level in ultimate. And yeah, the AUDL is a great, super well organized, super legitimate ultimate frisbee league, and they have amazing highlights that make ESPN top 10 constantly. They're always making like big plays and making it into the top 10. But yeah, man, it was fun. It was a journey, and I now that I need to get back into it. I need to get back just for the cardio and just staying on point, staying fit. It's a great way to just like have incredible cardio. So that's the ultimate little ultimate spiel.
No, I love that. I mean, you talked about the journey. I mean, life is a journey, and you transitioned into music right after that. You got really serious with the music industry, and you kind of buckled down. Like, how did that all transpire for you?
So I did. I kind of by accident got really big in the social media space, because remember when Vine was big, and we were sort of the pioneers in that space, and then we basically spread to all social platforms, just because there was such an influx back then. And we did the social media thing for a couple years, and then in 2016 I, after, seeing a lot of success, working with a ton of brands and being, in the space heavily, and being a part of a startup called Niche. I was the creative director for 2 years, and then we sold that company to Twitter. And I was kind of in the space of the first brand, the first brand deals and the first endorsements where social media people were getting paid by big brands. I was sort of in the mix of how that was happening and how someone did a brand deal and how did those kind of happen. So I was weirdly as a creator, I was in the space making content, and I became a big content creator in that space while also being on the business side. And it was a lot of fun because I was able to kind of like work with a lot of creators. I got a lot of big creators their first ever brand deals, and that was really, really cool to do. And then after a while, I just said, you know what, I want to do what my passion is. I want to really go for my passion, and start writing and producing my own music independently. So I've been doing that since 2016, and I've been releasing, music independently, and while at the same time still getting my hands in other business endeavors and just having fun with life. And we did a lot of traveling, and I was gonna say my wife and I really enjoyed our 7 years without kids. Like we lived it to the fullest. So when we finally had our baby, we were like, wow, we did it all. Like we traveled around the world. We had so much fun. So here's where we're at now,
No, I think that's great advice. I don't know, Josh, if you've done this too, but just traveling when you have the time before you have a family. I know Josh likes to travel a lot too, and there's nothing better than just having you and your wife, like having that time before you have kids, if you can. I mean, some people kind of go in different orders in life, but if you can travel, pick out that destination that you really wanted to go to before you really buckle down and have kids and settle into the routine of life. I mean, because we're all in different stages of life. I'm sure a lot of people are that are listening to this right now. But talk a little bit about your little one. Like you just had a 10-month-old, right? 10 months ago, and how old is she?
So it was actually 2 days ago. She just turned 10 months, and it's been an incredible journey, dude. Like nothing has been more life changing than having her, and kind of adjusting to that new lifestyle, that new parent life. And it's really made me kind of center myself more as a man and as a professional. Like so many things, as you guys know, they just don't matter anymore. Like so many things you used to care so much about, you just don't care as much anymore. You start to be more authentic as a person because you know and you value your time, and you kind of start, not in a bad way where you cut people off, but you essentially start prioritizing the things that matter to you the most and surrounding yourself with people who are really kind of in sync with you, and people, who you can like really prioritize your time with. And I really love like kind of the time management. You are forced to manage your time
Yes.
better. You have no choice. Like you have to make that change. So doing that has been so hard because do you guys ever think back before kids and be like, what did I do? We were going to the gym and then going to get a smoothie after and then going to lunch. Like
So much
what the
wasted
heck?
time. Yeah.
Yeah, everything changes.
Now I see dads like they go to that 5:30 a.m. workout class, and I'm like, I get it now. Your time
Yeah.
is valuable. Like you can't just aimlessly blow it and waste it. I mean, I had a jet over here after we got spring workouts essentially, and all the young guys are just chilling in the hot tub after kind of like eating at the cafeteria, and I'm like, man, my time is so valuable now. Like things that I love doing, especially
Hmm.
doing this podcast and hanging out with the family, like you can't get that time back. So there's nothing more than I'd rather be doing right now is like talking to you guys, hanging out with my family. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really important for young dads out there that ask, the veteran dads, like, how do you get it all done? Like, you have to be able to sacrifice and prioritize your time. I mean, it's like being a student athlete or anything in life. You, do the things you want to do in life, right? You could just say, oh,
Right.
I can't hang out with the family. I can't be home at this time because, I got to work. But I think that's kind of BS. Like, you have to be able to carve out time to have that healthy
Mm-hmm.
relationship with the
Absolutely.
family.
Yeah, Pat, we've talked about it before. Cody, I'm like big into sim racing, and before my daughter was born, I was doing like 20 races a week online. And then after my daughter was born, I was like, you know what? I don't have time for this anymore. I mean, I'll still hop on, but
Crazy.
not the way I was doing
Yeah.
it. And I mean, you have to make that sacrifice though, but it's like totally worth it. Like some dads or dads to be, it might scare them to think that you gotta stop doing something as much or whatever. But man, it is so worth it when you get that time with your family and just enjoying life.
Totally. And I think that there's really nothing to be, like you said, there's nothing to be concerned about. If anything, you should be excited because you are going to find the things you care about getting better at.
Yep.
And you're going to be so much better. And that was me. I was Mr. Everything guy always. And it was a realization as time went by, like I can't be Mr. Everything. Like I got to focus on the things that are going to, benefit me and my time and fulfill my creativity. And, business stuff and stuff that's gonna be good for me down the road and building long-term wealth. And I loved kind of just being able to prioritize. And like you said, it's a time thing. Pat, I want to jump in for 1 second and ask you something. So you've been in the league for how many years now?
I just finished up 8, so I'm going on 9. So this is my 9th season.
Well, because my question was like, when is the veteran like when are you a veteran? But you've been a veteran kind of because the league, even the time span of players is not terribly long in the NFL, right?
No, yeah, you're right. I think it's about 3.5 is the average lifespan of an NFL player, but to get vested in the NFL is 4 years. So they kind of know what they're doing. They kind of know strategically like what the
Mm-hmm.
cutoff is, so they kind of bump it up to 4 years. But it's like 3.3 or 3.5, whatever that is. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's really hard, and I see these guys work so hard to fulfill their dream. And
Mm-hmm.
each and every year, you have that new draft class that comes in, and everyone's trying to beat out the veteran. So it's definitely interesting. I'm sure it's like that in the business world too, where the young, hungry guys are coming into the industry and they're
Yeah.
trying to uproot and knock down the top guys. But it's awesome. I still love it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's even more enjoyable now that you have your daughter with you by your side. And I'm sure you have more things maybe to sing about or that things that inspire you to kind of snowball into your next, journey of life.
Oh yeah, even my last song, it was almost like a life update in a will. I mean, it's titled How I Feel, and it's just legitimately like how I'm feeling now after the kind of dust settles off after the newborn stage, and you're
Yeah.
just like adjusting to
Yep.
the new time, and just kind of realizing, wait, like what really matters, like where am I at in life, and what changes have happened, and it was kind of a great life update. But I think it's interesting, Pat, how you were saying you were talking about moving like a veteran and like having a kid makes you move like a veteran no matter how long you've been in the league because like
Right.
you said you're prioritizing your time, like you're doing whatever you can off the field to get better the maximum you can, and then after that it's family time. It's not going out the same as it was or hanging with the
Yeah.
dudes or the teammates as often. It's like there's always room for that, and it's healthy to have that camaraderie with the guys, but it's like it is a lot different, and it's crazy to think that. And I want to also jump in again, Pat, because when you went to when you were in high school, you kicked field goals and you punted, right? Like you
Yep,
did both of those for the team.
I did.
But
Yes.
when you moved to the NFL, are you mostly now just punting? Is that how it works with kickers? You're a specialty?
Yeah, it's more individualized, I would say, because a lot of people think if you kick field goals, you can punt or vice versa. But punting was something that I specialized in college because I had more height than a normal like place kicker, and they said, "No, son, you're built like a punter. You're going to be a punter." And I was like, "No, I want to actually like put points on the board." And like, "No, like
Yeah.
trust us. Like, you have a future in this if you listen to us." So I stuck with punting, and I did kickoffs and things like that, which have actually helped me in the league. Being able to do everything if something were to happen is definitely on your side. If somebody gets hurt or something like that, because how it works on game day, you can only activate so many guys. So in my career, I've had to actually kick off and do things in an emergency situation. Either someone pulls their quad or does something to their hamstring and they can't kick. Like I'm versed in it, so I can actually just get them out of a jam. So no,
Yeah.
that's a really
Right.
interesting question.
Yeah, and obviously that was a question from a guy like me with the level of knowledge. But there's just so many positions in football that people don't understand. It's not just like the 11 on both sides. You got all the special teams, and there's specific positions. So that's why I wanted to ask that question. But Pat, I might be wrong on this, and I'm sorry if I have you confused with somebody else. But weren't you briefly like a meme for being like a jacked kicker? Like, didn't you put up like 225 like a lot of
Listen,
times for a kick? Was that real? Was
his
that you?
combine is insane.
Yeah, no, it
That
was
was you.
it was fun, man. I did some things at the combine which I'm proud of. Uh, I ran the 40, did the 225-pound bench press. A lot of guys they were like, you don't have to do this. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, no, I want to do this. And I essentially turned heads because no one expects a specialist to bench press with the tight ends and the linebackers and kind of hold your own. So, dude, it was so awesome to experience that and have the guys come up to me after because you don't really know anyone. You've seen people in
Yeah.
college or whatnot, and everyone's kind of patting you on the back. It's like that in the locker room. I'm new, to the Green Bay Packers, and you kind of have to make your way. You have to work hard, and people say like, "Oh, wow, you're different. Like you work hard. You're not just the guy that try to half-ass something or just get away with it because you're a specialist." Because we don't do the cardio that the other guys do at practice, and they think you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of slack off. But I think that's a life lesson for anybody. Just give your max effort, no matter like what the expectations are,
Oh, 100%. Put in the work.
for sure.
That's
Yeah.
so cool, man. That's just so impressive because, like you said, it is a head turner, and I would bet that it helped you after the combine in some way, right? Like not just with impressing people, with just like your quality as an athlete. Period.
Yeah, I think it just shows your work ethic. It shows that you're willing
Right.
to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And I knew I only had one shot essentially at the NFL, like all these other guys think. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show everything that I have. And that's what the NFL combine is. Like, you have to interview, you sit down with these coaches, you talk about yourself, you show them what you could do on the field. And half of it's already on tape anyway. So they're just trying to figure out what kind of guy you are. So
Yeah.
I wasn't leaving anything to chance.
That's so dope, man. That's amazing.
But dude, let me jump into why we're here. Locker room dads. And you are a locker room dad, but do you remember we call it game day? The day of the birth of your daughter. If you could just paint the picture, everybody has a different uh you know experience, if you will. Was it stressful? Was it something you expected? Or I thought it was like the movies. I was waiting for this like rush of doctors being like, let's ready to go, let's go. Like it's time. And like it was so calm and it was so calculated.
That was exactly our experience too, Pat. Funny you say that. And we've had this conversation with so many parents because the movies, the media, and just people in general, they make that birthing day seem so stressful, you know? Um, and obviously the stress on our wives is a whole
Oh,
another
yeah.
level from what we have to deal with or experience, but it's still there is something to be talked about and said about the husband's perspective.
Hmm.
And you just our instinct is we just want to be there, right? We want to be there and help and however we can in a situation where we're not really prepared to know what's going to happen. But that was my experience. And it's like, it's good to say to people, like, this is not how everybody's birth goes. Like, it's very common for people to have to do C-sections because of last minute changes.
Yeah.
But our experience was had this built up stress. I'm sure similar to how you guys had, there was this kind of pre-stress. And then once we kind of got in there, like, there was only 2 nurses, and we're like, oh, okay. Like, that environment in general, just having the less amount of people already kind of calms you down and makes you realize, oh, wait, so this is what it takes. It's not like this production that they do and shows and, ER and all this kind of stuff. But our experience was great, man. I mean, it was definitely, tough. And man, that couch that we have to sleep on in the hospital, like, it seems nice when you get there and you're like, oh, cool. But then, man, that is one of the most awful things to sleep on, Like, I slept in the bed with her, reasons. Like, one of the nights, because it just got so uncomfortable on that dang couch. But man, the picture was, we got up and I was going to Publix to get my sub, because Publix makes amazing subs.
Of course, you had to take care of yourself. You had to get a snack.
And yeah, I had to get a snack. And like, she was feeling like it could be the day, and it was the day. So we're like, okay, it might be it. And I was like, okay, let me go get us food. I'm in line to get the sandwich, and she calls me and she's like, hey, like, babe, this is it. Like, we're going to go. I'm like, okay, I will be right home. She goes, no, get your sandwich. Like, get the sandwiches for us. Like, I'm like, are you sure, babe? Like, I will leave. And she goes, no, get the sandwiches, get some waters. And, we had our bag already packed. It was in the car.
Smart.
I got the stuff. I came home. We left. And yeah, man, like, that ride to the hospital was a little bit scary because the pain for her was getting so much, and she would just have to like sit there like with her eyes closed, and I was like looking over, and I'm like calmly, telling the family, and people were trying to FaceTime me because they knew we're on the way, and I'm like, hey, like, I can't see you right now, like, we don't want to see you right now, like, we're going to the hospital, but I'll keep you guys posted on the group text. But yeah, man, we got there, and she was not born until 12:12 the next morning. So like her Cuban mother, a few minutes late. And dude, she was just such a little joy, man. And like, as you guys know, as they grow up, they get even more cute and personality and changing, and they change so much. You look at the old pictures of your babies and you're like, who was that? Like, that was a different kid. But then they grow up, they get features, and they start acting like either you or your spouse in certain ways. But man, it was just a ride, man, and nothing prepares you for it. And when you get the experience, like, then what so many people have gone through, and like, what a whirlwind it can be. And then you wake up, and then it's been almost a year, and that's where I'm just like, oh yeah, that's just does time go by faster, guys, after you have a kid?
Yes.
I would agree. Yes, it has to. It's like a time warp that happens. Like, you're in it, and then all of a sudden, just time accelerates.
Yeah, just like you said, looking at the photos, you're like, oh man, she's so cute, whatever. And then you look at another photo, and you're like, I don't even remember when they looked like that. I thought they looked like this. They changed so quick.
I know, it's fun though. That's part of it. But Code, do you remember when you first saw your daughter? Time, like, what did anything come over you in that moment? Because a lot of guys, like, they cry, or some of them were like, oh man, like, I wanted a boy. Like, did you have like a moment that you were like, the reason why, like, I exist on this planet, you know what I mean, is to have another offspring or someone that I can look after, care for? Did you have that realization?
Oh yeah, I had so many realizations, man. It was like life came full circle when you see that happen. Like, everything made sense, and I'm a man of faith, and I was just like, I cannot believe, like, God, blessed me with this, and that this fully confirms God for me. This is my experience. And it was, because I was filming, there was a video that I was filming, and I didn't film right when she was born because I wanted to just experience that, and I just wanted that to just be like a lasting memory, because I don't need the camera for the birth. Like, I didn't need the camera, and you guys don't need it either, because that's just a permanent tattoo in your brain. But I did film sort of a few moments later when she was out and my wife was holding her, and I was filming that moment. and I was stuttering. Like I was in shock, dude. Like I was just like, oh, like I kept going like, oh my, like it's a feeling that cannot be repeated.
Yeah.
It's a feeling that can't be described. It's not just like I could tell a guy like, hey, yeah, man, it was crazy. Like, no, dude, that's just no explanation. There was a human in there, and now they're here and they're existing, and now life is legitimately different. Like from this moment, it's like the caretaking begins, and it's just hard to describe. It's like you try to paint the picture in a podcast, but it's like until you experience it. But just the level of joy, man. It's like I tell people, like, you know what, you think you love your pet, your dog, you know, like you really think you love that dog, but it's like there's a new level of love unlocked. Like it's unlocked, and it's a new love for your child, and it's just so incredible, man. So I hope I painted the picture in a way that made sense, but it's like,
that was great,
guys,
man.
you gotta experience it.
No,
It's like
absolutely.
it's an incredible experience.
Yeah, I kind of look back at like moments in my life that really hit me where I can like think how overjoyed I was or whatever, and like obviously like my wedding day, and then the Cavs winning the 2016 finals, and like all these things. But then like my daughter was born, and the second I heard that cry, like knowing everything's good, she's out, and I was like, oh my God, like this is insane. Like 9 months and here she is. Like it's the coolest feeling. You can't really explain it to someone unless they've gone through it. But like for new dads or dads to be, like, you will never be able to feel something that feels like that. It is the coolest moment ever.
Exactly. No, I think you guys hit it nail on the head. I mean, that's why I think dads appreciate one another. You know what I mean? Like if you have a brother or something that hasn't had a kid yet, or a family member, you don't really understand until you've gone through it. That's like anything in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't really fully connect with the person that has that life experience that you don't. But for all you new dads out there, buckle up, and we're going to dive into Cody Johns. This is the question I really wanted to ask Cody, because you're like, I feel like you're the greatest example of a father, but you probably need some help along the way. Did you guys get like a gadget, a toy, something that you would hands down just always buy for a new couple or a baby shower? Did you guys have any of those things that you guys needed to have?
Oh man, I could list many, but guys, how about that baby tech they have now?
It's pretty insane.
It's
There's a lot.
it's so crazy, man. I mean, oh my God. I mean, I don't even know. I feel like this is a controversial baby tech thing, but the owlet sock when they're just born. Did you guys have that or use it?
I did not, but yeah, Josh did. Yeah.
So Josh, did your doctor, or you know who you were going to, did they kind of warn you and say, hey, this will either make you really stressed or it'll
100%.
give you peace of mind?
Yes. And I remember the first time, like, my daughter accidentally like moved it and it started doing whatever it does, and I was like,
beeping or whatever.
I was like going nuts, and I look over and she's just like chilling there, and I was like, all right, thanks.
So
Go
dive
ahead.
into like what it is. Yeah, it's a sock, right? It monitors your heart rate, and
It monitors the heart rate and the breathing, but like I said, the reason it's controversial is because I think parents really who are a little bit overstressed, which I mean, perfectly good reason to be at that time, just with like the scariness of SIDS, and these are things that we need to talk about, because it's like things that, you know, we need to watch out for our kids, and making sure that there's nothing in the crib. And back then there used to be blankets for us. You got like back then there were toys and everything, and then it's so crazy how much it changes. But it's real to me, it actually provided peace of mind to us, I think, but it was just something in the back of our mind, like we're just glad we have it in case. But I know that for some parents it kind of like overstresses them, and like our doctor recommended, like, hey, if you're like that kind of a parent, then I would just not recommend it, because it'll make you sleep less waiting for it to maybe go off. So I liked it because it was just that peace of mind. It's so comfortable for them. It's just a little cute fuzzy sock they put on their foot, monitors their breathing. It connects to an app. The app sits, you know, by you, so you can make sure everything's okay. So I love that. What's another thing I love? Oh man. So the Miku monitor is like their baby, like it's just like another monitor, but when they're older, and it's a camera that reads their breathing too. So that's pretty
Oh,
cool
that's
because you can hook
sick.
that to your phone, and like they're inside. So like we have a big property, so like we'll put that on, and then I'll like go out for like a run outside, or I'll go work on some stuff outside, and I have it on
Mm-hmm.
my phone, and I can hear audio the entire time of her, like while she's sleeping. And if she were to wake up, I go boom, I'm done, I go right to her, and I can go get her whenever she wakes up, or if she's crying, whatever. But yeah, man, there's so much cool baby tech out there, but every parent is different, so it's like finding the right thing. We can recommend things all day, but it's like finding things that work for you. And it's different because I work from home, so the stuff that I have is like work from home friendly. But some people, like, they go to work, or they do the daycare thing, so it just all depends on like where you're at. But like the good news is there's so much good stuff now that there's something for every thing you would need for your baby. So that's the good news.
No, no doubt. I was just so shocked, like probably leaving the hospital, that there was really no instruction manual. Like they didn't say like, "Hey, like here are the tips we suggest the day after," or like this is what to expect. They kind of literally hand you the baby and they say, "Okay, we want to make sure that the car seat is functioning properly. Here's the safety video." And then like on you go.
They go, good luck.
I failed so bad, guys, at that dang car seat. Like, I was so confused. I felt like an idiot at first. I was like, what is the apparatus here? Like, okay, it clicks and the seatbelt. And then, dude, you let a month go by and you're just Mr. Dad. You're like the pro.
Oh, yeah.
You know all the things. And now I feel like I'm just like, yeah, I could have so many kids because I just know how it works. Boom, the system, blah, blah, blah. And now every kid's different, but it's like in terms of those first few months, and there's no, like you guys said, there's no class, there's no, like, there are courses you can take, but once again, it's subjective. You don't know how your baby's going to act.
True. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the
yeah.
car seat thing, I figured out our first one pretty easily. And our second one, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, this is like a new dad moment. I have no freaking clue how this goes in the car. I spent forever. I had a friend come help me. We were trying to figure it out. And I think like once you get it done and you finally figure it out, you're like, all right, being a dad's not so hard.
Yeah.
like, you
The
got it
car seat's
solved.
the hardest part. No.
Yeah.
I think a good tip though is you can go to your local fire department and they will install it and show it to you. So that is a tip that a lot of people don't know. That I think a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
people they should go. I actually had my wife go with the mother-in-law, and I was like, "Hey, why don't you guys go?" I had to go to practice and things, but I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of dads out there like, "Oh, I'm gonna figure it out." But just go on up to the fire station, put your pride aside, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they'll install it for you. And I love talking to other dads. I'm sure if you are a firefighter, you probably have a kid or a paramedic. Like they would love to show you. But yeah, huge dad moment there. Go to the fire station; they will install the car seat for you.
Wow. Great advice. Love
Yeah,
that.
Shout out to all the firefighters out there.
That's my dad, dude. He's retired. He's a fire chief
that's right. Yeah,
for
I
30
do.
years.
Love it.
So
You could have just called your dad. He could have just walked you
I
through on
know.
FaceTime or Zoom or something.
Yeah.
Uh, but hey, do you have any plans to write a song for your daughter if you haven't already?
Yes, I do. And I'm kind of waiting. I didn't want to write it too early, but I was actually just the other day, I was thinking maybe I'll write something like for her first birthday because it's coming up obviously very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Love
just
that.
wanted to have so much time to go by so I can kind of really figure out like and learn like who she is
Yeah.
in that first year. So yes, I have plans to write probably many. I would say many for her.
Love
And
that.
she has a very unique name. It's Juniper. So I think I might make some references to juniper, and like because there's a juniper tree and there's the color juniper, which is like this kind of a green, this dark green. So I might do something like that, and which is really interesting because her eyes are actually dark green, believe it or not, and they should not have been. It's so weird. I have blue eyes and my wife has brown eyes, and she got and basically the chance of her getting green
That's
eyes was
pretty
like
low.
5% or 3% or something, and she got them. So it's just really interesting how that was what her name was, and that's kind of like what her eye color is. So I do plan on making some cool creative stuff, and titling it maybe that because it's just so cool and unique and
Yeah,
doing some
Yeah.
cute stuff.
I knew you would, man. That's why I wanted to ask. But There's also a question we love to ask because we have a lot of athletes on the show, but you being a musician, being so gifted that you are, has there been a moment yet? I know she's really young, right? 10 months, but have you just sat there and be like, wow, she's gifted. Yeah, she gets that from her old man. Like, has there been a moment like that where, yeah, she's going to be so musically inclined. She's going to be like the next country star or the next like pop musician, or has there been a
Uh,
moment like that?
you know, guys, and I'm not just saying this, okay? You know how every parent will start off by saying, "Dude, it's not just like every other kid."
Yeah.
We got her a piano from Target, which there's so many corny pianos, by the way, guys. Like, you know, the ones that they're not even on key. And for
Yeah.
me as a musician, it's like I can't have a piano where like the C is like not like where the C is, like is not the right thing. Like, so hold on, I got my piano right here, so it's like, but you'll click this like where C's supposed to be on like one of those jiggy pianos, and it'll be like, you're just like, what the heck? That's not real. So we found a piano that was it was a toy, but had all the real notes, and that is her favorite toy. Like, we set it out for her, and she just goes blum 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 blum, and then I take her to our upright piano upstairs, and she goes blum blum blum, and she really seems to enjoy it. And we definitely think she has like some inclinations towards music. So I'm excited to kind of like not force her like a locker room dad forcing their kid into sports, but I want to
Yeah.
always introduce her. I want to introduce her to instruments, and I want her to be an athlete as well. My sister, you know, being the youngest of two brothers, me and Marcus, my little sister Shelby is an insane athlete because her brothers were always competing, and she would, you know, be with us and be competing. And it's so funny because now she owns her husband in like any sport because she's just so talented and so fast and is just a great athlete. So I want my daughter to be, I just want to show her the arts, and I want to show her athletics, and I want her to choose what she wants to do and like what she wants to pursue. But I at least want to have those presented. And I have an edge towards music, so I would love for her to be of course a piano virtuosa or virtuoso, however it goes. But I'd love for her to like get involved into an instrument and be like, oh, I want to be like daddy and play or sing or any of that stuff. So we'll see. Time will only tell. And as they get older, they kind of lean towards stuff. So we'll see where she leans, you know?
For sure. I mean, she sees you daily, probably on your piano, so I could definitely see how she wants to be like that. You know what I mean?
That's probably a lot
Yeah.
why she's kind of leaning towards that, you know?
So I
But
want to
we,
ask you, you know, you're 10 months now. Are we getting footsteps? Are we walking, or are we still crawling around?
I kid you not, today, like 2 hours before this podcast, she used her piano to stand up. So she finally stood
yeah.
up. And I know that babies can sometimes start standing before 10 months and whatever. So we're like, oh, she'll stand up at some point. Today was the day, guys.
All right.
no.
She grabbed the two sides of the piano and just pushed herself up, and she looked over at me and my wife in the kitchen and just smiled. We're like, holy crap. And I filmed it on my phone. It was like she had already been standing up, but I like filmed it. I was like, oh my gosh, Junie, you stood up. So that was a great, we were waiting for it to happen. That was a big milestone, I feel like, today, where she finally stood up and used her little stand-up piano to stand herself up.
That's awesome.
So perfect, you know?
It's so crazy that the phones now are like the home video recording devices that we used to see, like our parents just rip out. Like they always had these VCRs.
The huge
and those little-
camcorder.
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
this is now the new thing. Like, how cool is that? But now it fits in your pocket.
Yeah, hang on.
now,
I gotta
guys,
go
we
get
got-
the camcorder.
Yeah.
But now, guys, we have like 5,000 images on our phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I talk to people about this all the time. I go, listen, if we're taking 3, 4, 5,000 pictures a year of our kid, how are we even going to have time to look through these when we're older? Are we going to have like, hey, in January we'll just start looking at the photos, and maybe by the end of the month we'll get to all of them for the year? Like, how are we going to go through all this content of our kids?
It's so crazy, man. I actually had to upgrade the storage on my device because
Just
like
for the pictures.
it's already just taking me for everything I have right now. Like 1 terabyte. Like I don't know if I could ever take that many pictures, but I did have to upgrade to that.
Hey, we're gonna find out.
Wild.
Crazy,
Wild,
man.
We're there.
But yeah, I know you mentioned it real quick about your daughter putting her in certain things. Is there anything that you definitely want to put her in first, like whether it be gymnastics, soccer, dance, anything that is standing out to you guys?
I mean, guys, is it wrong to want our kids to excel in like the lowest impact, highest earning sports? Is that wrong to say?
No.
Like, can
What
we
would
can
that
we?
be?
I
Bowling?
mean, I think would golf, tennis, like some of these. I mean, I know it's really intense, and obviously you have to be super fit, but it's like, you know, I don't know. It just seems like sports that would be, a little bit less where she could get rocked as easily, like,
Love
rugby
that.
or flag football
Yeah.
or whatever, and maybe more individualized sports. But obviously, I think it's so valuable to have team effort as well. I mean, I don't know how tall she'll be, but maybe volleyball would be cool if she gets to be, I mean, daddy's only, well, I say only 5'10.5" is not bad. I'm pretty like right there.
Hey, that's all right.
But maybe she'll be 5'6" or 5'7", and maybe she'll get to play some other sports or whatever. But I'm honestly gonna just encourage her and be like, hey, listen, like, play whatever is fun for you. And it's like, I think a lot of people have the pressure to like, oh, do I got to take this to the professional level? And
Yeah.
it's just so hard to do that. But it's like fun should be prioritized and like them enjoying it. And honestly, it keeps you fit as a kid. It keeps you
Yep.
on point. That's what I loved about football, man. It's like, honestly, like I was on the team. I didn't get really crazy amounts of playing time till I was a senior, but for me, football really, it kept me in shape. I felt in shape in high school because it's like we were in, like, also, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but Pat, how were we wearing pads in Florida in the summers and how hot it was, and how were we doing that? Like,
We didn't
it's
know
hot
any better.
outside. I was gonna say we just didn't know, but like, how fit and in shape were we? Just always like just sweating and working out and building muscle all the time. But what I remember, just going back to the thing about football, is I think it made me, just having a team sport, like, it made me just like, it just built camaraderie. It
Yes.
gave me some like hard working like qualities about myself, and I feel like it helped me as I got into the business world and into content. And it just wasn't like I just couldn't give up or like not do a last set,
Yep.
because like that was unacceptable. It's like we had to finish what we started, and we had to do the best job we could. And that's what I think is great about team sports, which is why I think I would love my daughter to kind of like dabble in both, like the kind of individual, but also the team sports. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, I would highly recommend team sports, even if you don't take it to the next level. Like, just being able to work with teammates, you got to help pick each other up, have each other's backs. That just builds great character anyway for a kid. And just having that understanding can take you a lot further in life.
Absolutely. I love
with,
that.
Without a doubt. Last couple questions here, Code. I don't know if you guys watch shows. You probably like have, music recitals, and you probably read a lot of books. But are there like any shows that like she's gravitating to, or I'm trying to envision like where I was at 10 months, where you guys like Coco Melon, like we didn't really wear out a lot of TV shows because I don't know, she just doesn't really sit still, like she's always going. Or if you guys are in that Disney phase yet, Josh's daughter loves
You.
Disney shows.
That's so interesting you say that, because my daughter's the same way. She's go go go. You want to know something? I don't know if this is weird or not, but she's not watching anything right now. She doesn't watch shows or YouTube. Sometimes we'll put on like music, like music videos sometimes of like our favorite like worship music, and like that'll be in the background, but it's not like really like a colorful show. I think we're just waiting a little bit till she gets a little bit older before we kind of start doing the show thing.
Yeah,
But
screen
right
time.
now but I think that the reason why she's so like inclined to music, like when we play music in the background while she's playing, we notice she's calmer. She's more like, she can like focus better, and she's like less needy. Like she can kind of play on her own when like we have like kind of like soft music going on in the background. And I think we're gonna wait just till she's a little older. But what I cannot wait for, and Josh, you said Disney stuff, like I cannot wait to watch the Disney classics again.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys have seen them all, but
yeah.
I can't wait to bust out like the Lion King for the first time, and like Aladdin, like the OG, the Snow White. Like I want to watch them all, and I just want to wait for the right time where she can kind of like, she can watch and like kind of understand. I'm sorry, but to be completely real, like some of this new kid content, I'm just not with. I'm just not with some of this new stuff. But there's some really good stuff out there that I think I'll have her check out when she's like a little bit older, maybe when she's like over a year. But right now, we're kind of just like we're kind of just letting her listen to music and kind of play with just like blocks and little like stackable just cute little
Yeah.
toys and stuff like that. It's a lot. I feel like it's a lot more difficult because a lot of people will put their kids on like entertaining shows that they can like sit and watch, but like we're just kind of grinding it out and letting her, like, entertaining her, taking her outside a lot. We have a lot of land, so we'll take her out to go see the chickens. She likes swinging a lot. Swinging is like she sits in her little baby swing and she's just so content, just like swinging. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna
Sounds like my daughter.
gradually,
Yeah.
we're just gonna gradually, I think, get into that stuff. But the Disney classics, it's gonna be iconic. I'm just gonna, like, my mind is gonna be blown, like seeing those again. You know what I mean? I'm so excited.
Which one was your favorite, if you had to pinpoint one?
Oh man.
Like the one that you are going to absolutely show her, and she's probably going to be like, Dad, that was so stupid. Or like she's going to be like, Dad, that was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, no, don't you understand? Lion King is about life. It's a circle of life.
I was just thinking that, Pat, just because also the music is so iconic, like that African like style, like music throughout it, like, and just how even like some of the dark moments with like when he like, well, I don't want to give it away, but everyone's seen it, but like when the death happens and everything.
Spoiler
but like
alert.
I was gonna say everyone's seen it, but it's just it's got so many cool elements. The music is so good, so that's my favorite one. But I'm also like I'm kind of excited to bust out like Bambi, just that old school. You know what I mean? Just like watching like some of the old. And she loves animals. Her room actually has like a bunch of cute little animals, like deer and bunnies and like little field and flowers and stuff. So like she'll make that connection, I think, when she watches Bambi. And it's kind of a low intensity movie for the most part. So I think that'll be a great
scene.
It'll be exactly that. Man, there's always a scene. But you know what's great is Disney, it's like they're always real about like life. And like even with the Lion King, it's like there's always that moment because that's life. And it's kind of like letting kids know, like, hey, like it's not always just like sunshine and rainbows and butterflies in life. Like there are these tough moments and you got to get through these moments. And that's kind of what makes those original stories great, you know?
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
My movie I had to put on for my daughter was Hercules. That was my favorite as a kid.
Oh,
so
that is so
it has
good
great
too.
music too. So I had to play that for her. She loves it too.
So great. So great. I remember that movie. And the music is really good in that one too.
It bangs. It's so good.
It bangs, dude.
Bangs.
Disney music.
So good.
That's a dad line for sure. I love that.
Disney's so geared towards the family, like being able to enjoy it with your kids. You know what I mean? Like it's geared towards the children, but also like you're kind of watching it with them. You know what I mean? Like they do such a great job at including everybody. You know, it's so great.
Absolutely.
But dude, Cody, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast, man. We do appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it, guys. And especially like how you guys focus on like the family stuff and the dad stuff. And I feel like it's kind of a rare niche thing you guys are doing. So I think it's so cool to be able to tie in sports with talking about dad life and just parenting in general and how you guys pivot like that. I love it. And I'm so glad you guys brought me on, and I'll do it again. Season 2. Hit me.
We're going to have a follow-up.
Let's go.
We got to check in with you. But before we go, holler at the people. Where can they find you? Where can they find your music?
What's up, everybody? I'm Cody Johns, and it's pretty simple. You can find me on Instagram. It's just at Cody, literally just CODY on Instagram. The same on Twitter, and on Spotify, it's my full name, Cody Johns. You can find all my music there. I appreciate you guys checking me out, and special thanks to Pat and Josh for having me on. Locker Room Dads, guys. It's been an honor, and I appreciate you guys having me on. Love it.
Well, thanks for being on, man.
We'll talk to you soon, Code.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Later, bro.